When my fam cut me off for the 20th time, I strolled into the registration office clutching my cancer diagnosis paper. Hey, I need to cancel my household registration ahead of time. Just 10 minutes later, my parents barged in with my foster sister. My dad, a cop, gave me a slap the moment he walked through the door. Using police time just 'cause you're jelly of your sister? All those books you've been reading for nothing? My mom, a forensic expert, grabbed the diagnosis paper from my hand, skimmed it, and laughed mockingly. Faking an illness to get attention? You've been lying your whole life. My foster sister started crying, tugging at my parents' arms. Sorry, sis, I won't celebrate my birthday anymore. Please stop lying to our parents. I wiped the persistent nosebleed and turned back to the staff. I don't have a family anymore. Please help me cancel my registration so we don't hold up the cremation in 3 days. 3 months after being diagnosed with terminal stomach cancer, the doctor insisted I needed treatment in the hospital. But I was broke, so I called my parents. After they hung up on me for the 20th time, I took my diagnosis report to the registration office. Hi, I'd like to cancel my household registration ahead of time. The staff looked at me with pity. Young lady, don't you have any family? Just as she finished speaking, my parents stormed in with my foster sister. Without a word, my dad slapped me, pointing furiously, wasting police resources just 'cause you're jealous of your sister? All that schooling for nothing? The slap left me stunned. It took a moment to remember. It was my foster sister Lily's birthday. Dad had taken 2 days off just for her, and me, their biological daughter in the final stage of cancer, being shunned for asking for medical help. Tears quickly filled my eyes. I covered my sore cheek and tried to explain, Dad, I didn't. Still arguing? My mom snapped, snatching the report, scanning it, and mocking me. Fake documents for attention. You ruined your sister's big day with your lies. How do you expect us to believe you anymore? She was about to hit me again when Lily held her back. I'm sorry, sis. I shouldn't have had a birthday. Please stop deceiving our parents. My mom comforted Lily, wiping her tears tenderly. A painful sight for me. My heart went numb as warm blood flowed from my nose. I wiped the nosebleed and turned back to the registration window. I don't have a family anymore. Please help me cancel my registration so my cremation in 3 days isn't delayed. My dad laughed sarcastically. Ruining your sister's birthday party by dragging everyone here for this charade is ridiculous. You'll pay for this one day, and don't you dare say you're my daughter. They left with Lily without a second glance. After finishing the process, I headed home alone. 3 days left until I'm gone. As a terminal cancer patient, I was handling my registration solo while my parents partied for my foster sister's birthday. In my final days, I didn't want to stay home. I just needed to sort my stuff. But there wasn't much to pack. My room was the house's tiniest storage space. All I had were a few old clothes and some barely noticeable supplies. Even Lily's closet was 3 or 4 times bigger. Only the stuff she didn't want ended up in the storage room. After packing, I got a call from the cemetery company. Carrie, you still want the plot you were eyeing earlier? A deposit will hold it for you, or we'll sell it to someone else. I really wanted that spot. The trimmed pines, the roses, and the stylish tombstone and urn were my vibe. I thought if life was rough, death should be chill. But now that dream was gone. I hesitated before answering. I don't need it anymore because I'm broke. If I can't afford treatment, how could I buy an expensive grave? Right after the call, my brother burst in, tossing his briefcase aside and looking confused. Cemetery? What cemetery? I thought he knew something. But then he asked harshly, Carrie, what are you doing now? I heard you caused a scene at the Civic Center just to mess up Lily's birthday. You've embarrassed all of us, even Mom and Dad. Lily's upset and cried because of you. Her party is ruined. It was her only 18th birthday. She didn't have her parents growing up and didn't mean to depend on others. Why can't you get along with her? Under Ken's judgmental stare, I swallowed my words. Am I the one who's failing to fit in here? Lily's 18th birthday is important. What about mine? Since she came into our lives, I never properly celebrated. On my birthdays, Lily always caught a cold or had an allergic reaction, and we were at the hospital with her. 10 years straight, and even a sneeze from Lily had my parents grabbing a thermometer, and on my 18th birthday, they forgot it entirely. Not even a happy birthday for me. But they remembered to arrange Lily's party, organize her dress, prep her gifts. Tears welled up as I watched Ken struggle to speak. Brother, my 18th birthday was important too, yet you all forgot, and I didn't even get pocket money for a cake. Ken seemed to remember something, but quickly dismissed it. Why are you so petty? If you didn't mess up, would Mom and Dad be so mad for so long? Just then, my parents and Lily walked in, shouting loudly, "You really have the nerve to talk about turning 18? After what you did to Lily, you don't deserve a birthday." My dad's face turned stone cold, his eyes burning with rage. "Lily's birthday was a disaster because of you, and she almost fainted pleading for us to forgive you. You don't feel guilty at all? Go apologize to your sister." Lily snapped out of her sorrow, forcing a smile as she approached me. "No need to say sorry. I want to eat the soy milk cake that sis makes. Can you make one for me, sis?" My mom showed a hint of relief and rushed to persuade me. "Isn't that your specialty dessert? Lily is giving you a chance to redeem yourself. You should take it." Looking at Lily's increasingly smug expression, I didn't move. I pushed her back. "Aren't you allergic to soybeans? Why insist on me making a cake? Are you planning to blame me for another allergic reaction?" Lily's face turned pale instantly. Within a heartbeat, she grabbed my hand with an innocent tone, begging me, "I'm sorry, sis. I forgot. It's all my fault for falling down the stairs as a kid, damaging my brain, and forgetting about the allergy. Please don't be mad. I can eat another flavor too." Her fake, pretentious act made me laugh inside. The first time I made a soy milk cake, I had no idea she was allergic to soybeans. I did it to prove my love for my sister. Just because she said she liked it, I burned my hands countless times to bake a perfect cake. Then Lily had an allergic reaction and fainted. When she woke up, she threw herself into our parents' arms, crying. "Uncle, Auntie, the cake was made with love by my sister, and she said it'd be fine to take just one bite. Please don't blame her." I couldn't resist staring at my parents' accusing eyes as I stood helpless by her hospital bed. I didn't know she was allergic to soybeans. She never told me. Instead of trust, I got my dad's flying kick. He kicked me straight in the stomach, sending me several meters away. The pain made it impossible to get up. Everyone in the family knows. How could you not know? Don't make such lame excuses. I think you're just jealous of your sister. This led to me being locked in my room for 3 whole days. Those 3 days were a nightmare. No food, no water. Couldn't even use the bathroom. By the time I was let out, I was completely drained. Remembering all this, I coldly rejected her. My skills aren't good enough to make what you want. If you want something, go buy it yourself. Lily held onto my arm, not giving up, her tone suddenly showing a bit of fear. "Hey, okay. I don't want cake anymore. Please don't be mad, sis." As she spoke, a flicker of malice crossed her eyes. Her grip tightened until I pulled away in pain, causing her to fall unexpectedly to the ground. Everyone's expressions changed instantly. My mom quickly helped Lily up, anxiously checking her for injuries. It seemed she hurt her elbow, leaning against Mom. "Mom, it hurts." Ken rolled up her sleeve and gently rubbed the joint, then turned to scold me harshly. "Carrie, that's too much." My dad's rage exploded, and he slapped me. "Carrie, you really take things too far. If you hadn't pushed Lily down the stairs when you were little, she wouldn't have hurt her head. If I knew you'd turn out this vicious, I wouldn't have taken you in. No dinner for you tonight? Go to your room and reflect." I could feel a molar dislodge. My mom saw the blood on my lip, showing a moment of hesitation. But just a second later, as Lily's cries intensified, she withdrew her gaze and continued to comfort Lily. Wiping the blood from my mouth, I turned back to my room, not to reflect, but to grab my packed bags. They gave me a skeptical look followed by mocking laughs. "What, got the bright idea to run away from home? Your parents are disciplining you for your own good, Carrie. Why can't you understand our good intentions? If you step out that door today, don't ever come back." After countless disappointments, my heart was numb. I was no longer scared of not having a home to return to because this place never truly accepted me. Seeing me walk away without looking back, my dad furiously grabbed a cup and threw it at me. The shattered glass cut my head open, but I didn't back down. I just stopped. Turned to look at everyone. If you regret having me so much, then today I'm cutting all ties. Whoever regrets it is a dog. Just after leaving the villa's yard, Ken chased after me and pulled out some cash from his pocket, offering it with a lecture. "Take this $1,000. find a place, cool off a few days, and come back to apologize when you calm down. It'll blow over. $1,000, just a meal for Lily. They always thought a few days of living expenses for me was just one meal's worth for Carrie. Then Lily came out too. She took the cash from Ken's hand and playfully teased, Sis, we're family. They're just words spoken out of anger. Does Big Brother really want to send you away? Why not just let her go hungry so she'll come back quicker, right? Ken thought it made sense and silently put the money back in his pocket. My chronic illness flared up again. Dragging my exhausted body, I walked what felt like forever to leave this wealthy area. I used the little money I had saved from the side jobs and booked a room at a motel. At night, I lay on my narrow bed, hugging myself. As time slowly ticked away, I drifted into sleep. In the days without Lily, I was once the apple of my parents' eyes. Back then, they were both too busy with work. So, when I was little, they sent me to the countryside. Mom kissed my cheek reluctantly and said, Sweetheart, once I'm done with work, I'll come get you as soon as I can. I waited 4 years. When my parents finally came, they had a girl with them. She was Dad's best friend's kid, and her parents were gone for some reason. So my parents adopted her. I honestly treated her like my own sister. But on my birthday, she got pricked by a needle hidden in her dress. She cried, ran into my parents' arms, and said, Uncle, Aunt, don't blame my sister. She didn't mean it. Give me some time. I can win her over. That sentence spelled my doom. I asked her why she framed me. Her innocent face twisted into a sly smile. She grabbed my hand, pressed it to her chest, and threw herself down the stairs. At that moment, my parents came home. From then on, I was a bona fide bad kid. Lily accused me of stealing, claiming my part-time job money was hers. My parents cut off my allowance. I was bullied by Lily's group, and she acted innocent, flipping the script on me. This led to me being locked in a small, dark room. I often went hungry, developing a severe stomach condition. When I told my parents about it, my stomach meds turned into vitamins. Just because it's been a few years in the countryside, I was blamed for everything. Even the right to celebrate my birthday was taken away. Woken by stomach pains at night, I suddenly missed my grandma in the countryside. No food could compare to Grandma's handmade noodles. She passed away not long after, and her village was torn down. Sadly, I was too exhausted and didn't have enough for travel expenses. Even visiting her grave seemed impossible. 2 days left. I ordered the cheapest noodle delivery. While waiting, I got a message from Ken. Your parents still care for you. They asked me to get meds for your head injury. Lily's bringing the medicine. She's trying to be nice, so please don't hurt her. Half an hour later, Lily and my food delivery arrived at the same time. Just as I was about to take my first bite, she slapped it out of my hands. Noodles and broth scattered everywhere, making a huge mess. Carrie, you really thought I was here to bring medicine? Sorry, I already tossed it. She dropped her usually timid act, glaring at me with a hateful smile. Haven't you seen the news? The person handling your case got reported and suspended. Your parents found out too, and they're not happy. I couldn't take it anymore. Why are you doing this? Because I hate you? Blame yourself? It's your fault you ruin things for others. So what if you have stomach cancer? You want the world to know? Do you think Mom and Dad believe you? You're dying soon, so why not just die somewhere else? Stop being an eyesore at home. Watching her fume with anger, I remained unfazed. In a calm tone, I said, Sister, I swear I've never harmed you. Why are you doing this to me? Lily laughed, dripping with sarcasm. It was a long while before she stopped. Can't help it. As an adopted child, I'm not as good as the biological one. No matter how fair they try to be, they can't balance things. So, I have to secure my place in the family somehow. Was the pin in the dress yours? It was, Lily admitted without hesitation. The needle was mine, and I threw myself down the stairs, and with some special meds, I faked allergies. I was willing to lose it all to trap you, so everything now is what I deserve. Are you mad? Unsatisfied? What? You gonna kill me? I was mad. The physical pain mixed with fury made me tremble. Lily, you're despicable. As soon as I said it, she slapped me. I fell to the floor from the force. I used that little strength to live 2 more days. Once you're gone, no one will threaten my place. She kicked me twice more, satisfied, and left. She had no idea about the camera I'd set in the corner. Slowly, I got up, brushing off my soup soaked clothes, checked my phone, and saw the news about the staff suspension. Everyone online hated me for supposedly stirring up drama. That didn't bother me, but the staff member was innocent. So I made a group chat with only my parents and brother. I sent the video I just recorded to the group. At the same time, I emailed it to every friend, family member, and classmate I knew. One day left, I exposed Lily's true nature to my family. Then I left the hotel, going to a place they couldn't find. At school, I often went hungry after losing my allowance. I'd help in the cafeteria for free meals. Lily, a cafeteria worker, took special care of me, piling my plate with food, reminding me I could come back for seconds. She'd often say, "Carrie, come over to my place when you have time." Her daughter, a year younger than me, had no friends. If I hung out with her, she'd be happy. One day, Lily didn't greet me with a smile or offer me food. No invite to her home either. With her apron off, she left the cafeteria with her personal items in hand. I found out her daughter took her own life after being bullied for a long time. Lily took compensation and left. I found my aunt's place using the address she gave me. It had been a long time since we last met. Seeing my ghostly appearance, it took her a while to recognize me. I licked my dry lips and carefully asked, "Auntie, can I stay here for a day? I won't come inside, just sit at the door. When I'm gone, could you call the crematorium?" Aunt Lily's eyes welled up. She warmly invited me inside, poured me some hot water, and even bought fresh ingredients. She cooked me my hometown noodles. As night fell, Aunt Lily and I clinked our glasses. The big bowl of hot noodles eased the pain in my body. She brought out makeup in a new dress her daughter never wore, dressing me up with care. Then she looked at me, tears in her eyes. "Carrie, how about Auntie takes you to the hospital?" I weakly shook my head. "No need, Auntie." Aunt Lily couldn't hold back a tear. She never asked about my family, yet somehow knew everything. Just as she never mentioned her daughter to me, I knew all about her. We sat there quietly for a long time. As my consciousness started to fade, I felt Auntie's warm embrace. Leaning on her shoulder, I heard a thank you. "Carrie, thank you for giving me a chance to celebrate my daughter's birthday." I wanted to say, "Thank you, Auntie, for everything today. Just this one day surpassed all the past 10 years. But I couldn't make a sound. I just felt my body getting lighter, slowly rising off the ground and floating into the air. In the blink of an eye, I was home. Mom and Dad saw the group message I sent and both looked impatient. Look, Carrie even created a group chat without Lily. She still hasn't realized her mistake. Lily lost her parents young. 8. Carrie, as her sister, you should be more accommodating. But you can't stand Lily. Lily's been giving you chances all these years. I'm so disappointed in you. Mom's tone was full of helplessness. But after they opened the video, disappointment and helplessness vanished. In their place were shock and confusion, especially Dad, who couldn't believe Sweet Lily would say such cruel things, do nasty deeds, or even hit someone. So, he immediately called the staff in his department, asking a colleague to verify if the video was real. While they were waiting, my brother called. "Mom, Dad, what were Carrie and Lily talking about?" "Stomach cancer." "Lily put needles in her dress." "I had a friend check." "The video's not fake." Why would Lily do this? Looking at Mom and Dad frozen, I finally understood. Why every time Lily set me up, they always believed her over me. Even with the truth right in front of them, their first instinct was to doubt the video, not Lily. No wonder my explanations were always in vain. Their favoritism toward Lily weighed down on me like a mountain, giving me no room to breathe. "Dad, Mom." "I've got an urgent meeting," Ken quickly asked. "Carrie, what happened?" He hurriedly hung up. My parents replayed every frame of the video. After a long silence, they exchanged a look, realizing something. They started frantically calling me, but all they got was a phone-off message. It wasn't long before Lily came home. As soon as she walked in, the table was full of her favorite cakes. More eye-catching than the cakes were Mom and Dad. Today they didn't greet her happily as usual. Instead, they looked at her seriously, without a hint of a smile. "Mom, Dad, why did you buy so many cakes?" Lily asked in a playful tone. "Lily, we walked by a new shop and bought all your favorites to try them." "But Mom, Dad, I'm allergic to a lot of foods." "Can't eat most of these," she replied, raising a brow. Since you know you're allergic, why keep asking your sister to bake you cakes? As soon as that was said, Lily visibly panicked. Shortly after I sent out the video, Lily's group began distancing themselves from her. Worried the bullying would blow up, creating trouble, they subtly reminded Lily, "Stop using us against Carrie. She's your sister. If your parents find out you're fine but will be in trouble, imagine what your dad would do." Lily just laughed it off, clearly unaware of the video. Ha 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 ha! What's there to be afraid of? Carrie's dying, look. Even if she tells my parents, who'd they believe, me or her? Besides, I'm here for you, why chill? But now she wasn't laughing anymore. Mom and Dad seemed set on making her eat the cake, urging, "Just a bite, it'll be fine, Lily. If you have a reaction, we're right here to take you to the hospital." Lily's face looked strained. Still, to not expose herself, she forced a reaction. "We're right here to take you to the hospital." Lily's face looked strained. Still, to not expose herself, she forced a smile. She took a spoonful from each cake, then turned to them, claiming she felt unwell and rushed upstairs. I followed her calmly, floating along. I caught her frantically rummaging through her room, unable to find what she was looking for, despite searching like mad. "Lily, what are you looking for?" Startled, Lily spun around, seeing her parents at the door, visibly shivering. "I don't feel well. I'm looking for allergy meds." "Is this it?" Dad held up a white bottle. Lily turned pale with nerves in an instant. She knew well this wasn't allergy medication, and as a forensic expert, Mom just needed a closer look at the ingredients. She'd be done for. So, stammering, "Yeah." "Lily, my dear, you've always had those health issues since you were little. Maybe go easy on the allergy meds, okay? After gobbling down all those cakes today, how about we head to the doctor for a checkup?" After the checkup, since Lily wasn't showing any allergic reactions, the doctor mentioned maybe it was because the allergen intake was low and didn't trigger any symptoms. Lily held her parents' hands and in her sweet little voice said, "Mom, Dad, I didn't eat much because I was afraid of an allergy. I'm growing up now. I won't make you worry by being greedy." Her parents exchanged a look, holding back something. Lily was unaware that while she was getting checked, her parents had already shown the meds to a specialist. Just as she said in the video, this medicine was specially designed to provoke allergy symptoms. After Lily headed to school, her parents just collapsed onto the couch, looking utterly deflated. They said since it's confirmed Lily isn't allergic, maybe the video has about a 30% chance of being credible. Then, the mention of stomach cancer in the video got them making eye contact again. I finally saw panic etched on their faces. "Honey, could Carrie actually have cancer? Did we wrongly accuse her?" My mom's voice was shaky. My dad held her hand, trying to comfort her. "Nah, come on, how could a young healthy person get cancer? We need to find out and talk to her." They tracked down the hotel I stayed at. The owner mentioned I only stayed 2 days before leaving. My dad looked around the cramped, worn room and the dirty restroom. For the first time, he seemed a bit confused. They spent 3 days searching everywhere I could have gone but found no trace. Eventually, my brother even took leave to join them. With some tech help, they tracked my phone's last known location to Aunt Lily's house. Aunt Lily didn't seem surprised when my parents showed up. My mom was on edge and instantly grabbed Aunt Lily's clothes. "Where is my daughter? Give her back to me." My dad pulled my mom away and in a formal tone demanded, "Is Carrie here? I'm her father. I want to see her." Aunt Lily just gave them a cold look and didn't bother with words. She led them to the funeral home. As one heavy door after another swung open, a body covered in a white cloth came into view. Both my parents froze, then collapsed to the ground. "What does this mean? Why bring us here? Is this some sort of sick joke?" My brother snapped, rushing forward and pulling off the cloth. At the sight of that familiar face, he stumbled back, tears welling up. My parents leaned on each other, trembling as they approached. There I lay, eyes shut, my face devoid of color. This face they had resented for a decade, how could they not recognize it? But the reality was inescapable. The person here was gone. My mom clutched her chest, crying inconsolably. My brother held her, trying to keep his composure. My dad stood staring at my body for the longest time, then slowly turned away. wiping tears with one hand while removing his glasses with the other. My mom nearly fainted multiple times. In the throes of their grief, she realized how absurd it all was. That to spare hurting Lily, they painstakingly investigated her allergies, landing on the conclusion that the video's credibility was only 30%. How could the video be fake? Everything in it was real. Once everyone had collected themselves, Aunt Lily handed over my belongings, just a few personal items and an old phone. When turned on, countless missed calls and messages flooded in. My parents eagerly went through all that I left behind. The more they read, the paler their faces grew. The video was maddening enough, but the chat logs with Lily only showed it was the tip of the iceberg. Carrie, you happy to be first in class? You better not score higher than me again. How's the toilet water taste? Mess up those grades again? And next time, it won't just be water. You seriously think the class president likes you just because he helped you with a problem? Look at yourself. Meet at the usual place after school. Let's see who you really match up with. Don't show and you'll regret it, Carrie. How dare you tell mom and dad I swapped your meds? Aren't vitamins tastier? You should thank me. Sorry for ruining your only uniform. Don't you work in the cafeteria? Earn your keep and buy a new one. Or beg, and maybe I'll spare you some old clothes. My mom couldn't finish reading before she turned away, tears streaming down. My dad's eyes turned red, gripping the phone so tight his knuckles whitened. The first time I topped the class, Lily's group cornered and beat me for the teacher's praise, so I learned to control my scores. Slip-ups still led to punishment even if I was only a single point above Lily. Getting beaten or shoved in the toilet became routine, all because the class president explained a problem to me. Lily summoned me to the alley with some thugs. I had to hold a knife to my throat, threatening to die before they backed off. When my only school uniform got ruined, I had to grovel to my parents for money to buy a new one. They'd be sitting together watching TV. My dad, lazily puffing a cigarette, got the nerve to ask for cash. When you're the bully, no uniform, that's your problem. Handle it. He'd then take Lily on a shopping spree. How was it possible they couldn't see I was the one being bullied, always coming home in such a mess while they thought it was me doing the bullying? I can never forget my dad defending Lily, telling me, Carrie, lay another finger on Lily, and I'll see you in the juvenile hall, minor or not. The chat records went on forever, and I'll see you in juvenile hall, minor or not. The chat records went on forever, just too long to read, but for the past 10 years, that's how I've been living. No one ever stood up for me or was fair to me. In the middle of this grief, my phone rang. At first, my dad thought it was just a telemarketer, but after a few seconds, he put it on speaker. Miss Carrie, are you still interested in the cemetery you looked at? If you place a 5% deposit now, we can hold it for you. Miss Carrie hearing cemetery made Ken cover his eyes in pain. Turns out, I wasn't wrong. The day Carrie went to cancel her registration, she was already looking at cemeteries. Dad, Mom, we wronged Carrie. We've been so completely wrong all these years. So Carrie never bought that cemetery because she didn't have the money. After saying this, he started crying softly. My mom, holding back her sadness, snapped the phone from him and replied, I'll take the cemetery. Hold it for me. We've owed Carrie so much. This is the least we can do for her. So they decided to take my body back. Aunt Lily, who had been silent all this time, finally spoke up. Carrie told me before she passed that she wanted to be buried with her grandmother in the countryside. If you can't do that, I won't let you take her. My father, losing his temper, snapped. Carrie is my daughter. Who are you to make decisions for her? Why didn't you take her to the hospital when you knew she was sick? Aunt Lily, unflinching, replied with a colder voice. And now you want to take her to the hospital? What were you doing before? It's rich of you to criticize others as such parents. Just because Carrie came to me in her final moments, I have to fulfill her last wishes. If you want to take her, you'll have to go through me. Otherwise, forget it. In the end, Aunt Lily watched as my father canceled the cemetery order before allowing them to take my body. I vaguely heard Aunt Lily whisper, I'm sorry, Carrie. I could only help you this far. I have no right to handle your affairs. Legally, they're still your family. Whether they'll respect your wishes or not, I can't interfere. I floated in front of Aunt Lily, trying to give her a hug. Aunt, you've done so much for me. Regardless of the outcome, I'm grateful. Besides Grandma, you're the only one who stood up for me. My mom decided to personally examine my body. In the examination room, as soon as she unbuttoned my clothes, she couldn't help but tear up again. Every inch of my skin hidden under clothes was marred. Bruises, burns, stick marks, and even kicks. Some were from school, but some from my own parents. If Lily is the murderer, then they are the accomplices. My mom looked at my cold body and hung her head in regret. I'm sorry, Carrie. Mom was truly wrong. 3 days after making arrangements for my matters for Lily, those 3 days felt normal. Coming home from school, she found Dad, Mom, and Ken in the living room and, as usual, playfully ran to them. Mom, Dad, brother, you've been busy with work. I missed you so much. She blinked and sat next to Dad again, innocently saying, I saw Sister the other day. She's been skipping school, hanging out with some shady people. Dad, don't be mad at her. Maybe just punish her a little. Make her do some chores. Before she could finish, Dad slapped her. Lily, punish her a little. Make her do some chores. Before she could finish, Dad slapped her. Lily held her swollen cheek, eyes wide with disbelief. Dad, we treated you like a princess and you turned out to be a snake. Bring my Carrie back. Remembering how my body wasn't even in the ground and seeing Lily lie without flinching, Mom was filled with grief and anger. She picked up an ashtray and hurled it at her. Lily flinched as it shattered near her eyes sharpening for a moment, but she quickly faked innocence again. What are you talking about, Mom? I don't understand. Lily threw the video in front of her, sneering, You really are disappointing. Lily picked up the phone and watched my video. Her expression shifted from shock to fear to calm in seconds. Afterward, she crawled to Mom and Dad in a pleading tone. It's not true, brother. It was just a joke between me and Sister. She knows it was only part of the story. Call her if you don't believe me. Before she could continue, Dad finally snapped, yanking off his belt and whipping her. A red mark instantly appeared on Lily's pale face. In that moment, neither Mom nor Ken moved to help her. Lily realized her act couldn't change things anymore. Dad didn't even bother speaking. He just kept whipping her. That night, screams echoing in the villa lasted for ages. Nobody kept count of how many beatings Lily got. They locked her in the small dark room as they once did to me. No food, no water, her phone confiscated, her allowance cut. Even doubling the punishments they once gave me to make up for their guilt. But I didn't need it. Even if they killed Lily, it wouldn't erase the pain they caused me. Even if I could come back to life, I'd never accept their remorse. The news that Lily caused my death quickly spread through the circle. At the same time, almost everyone knew she had fallen from grace. Neither her cop dad, forensic mom, nor her businessman brother cared about her anymore. Back when she was ruling the class, I wasn't her only target. Now, all those people she wronged started to come after her. Even her closest friend, in a bid for self-preservation, joined forces to get back at her. In less than a week, Lily couldn't take it anymore. With messy hair and dirty clothes, she sat in a toilet stall. After a bout of powerless rage, she suddenly calmed down. She realized something important. Carrie was already dead. If she sincerely apologized and won back her parents, she might still have a place at home. Sooner or later, everything would be hers. So she knelt sincerely in front of her parents. Dad, Mom, Lily knows she was wrong. I shouldn't have hurt my sister. I didn't mean to cause her death. I just lacked a sense of security since I lost my biological parents when young, and I cared too much about you guys. I promised to take responsibility for my actions. Lock me up, take away my allowance. I don't care. You've lost one daughter. There's only me now, and without Carrie around, I'll definitely make you proud. Tears filled her eyes as she bowed deeply. Then she waited quietly for their response. But to her disappointment, they didn't budge. In fact, they blatantly saw through her intentions. Linda, it's not that you know you were wrong. You're just scared of losing everything. You could have lived your life with no worries, but you couldn't tolerate my daughter. There's no turning back for your actions. You should realize that the guilt of harming our Carrie isn't easily absolved. If you like kneeling so much, go beg for forgiveness at Carrie's grave. They took Lily to my grave. Surprisingly, they honored my wish and buried me next to Grandma. They even bought new clothes, a new bag, jewelry, everything I never had in life. They said they wanted to celebrate my birthday for me. After lighting the candles on the cake, Ken forced Lily to kneel before my grave. She stayed there from day till night, looking around at the overgrown wilds and uneven shrubs. Lily shivered, afraid something sinister might jump out. But what she feared most was what I treasured. In death, being close to my beloved grandmother, I wasn't entirely filled with regret. After days of kneeling at my grave, Lily completely broke down. She understood her plans wouldn't come to fruition, so she hastily moved on to Plan B. She exchanged her body for a special inhalant poison from a shady source. One night, when everyone was asleep, she tried to poison them quietly. But she didn't know they had installed cameras after my death. Enraged, my dad slapped her several times and took her to the police with evidence the same day. He publicly announced their severed ties with Lily afterward. They both seemed mentally unstable. My dad somehow found one of my old medical reports. He took it straight to the government office and confronted the girl who processed my deregistration. "Why didn't you notify her parents when you processed my daughter's deregistration? You're also irresponsible. I'm filing a complaint." His face flushed red, quickly drawing a crowd. The girl, now reinstated and cleared of blame, was no longer a pushover. She spoke firmly, piercing my dad's heart with every word. In the third month of her late-stage stomach cancer, doctors strongly advised hospitalization. How could you have been so heartless when your child was so ill? Didn't you see it coming? If you interfere with my work again, I'll call security. Sir, oh. Later, he was reported for abuse of power and misconduct, leading to his termination. My mom, constantly tormented by guilt, eventually resigned from her job. As for me, I met someone called the System. It said if I completed a simple strategy game, I could make one wish come true when returning to the real world. My wish is that in my next life, I'll meet a family that loves me.